In this session, we will discuss about static indeterminacy of structural systems. In your Mechanics of Solids course, you must have come across the fact that when all the support reactions of a system can be computed from the equations of equilibrium only, then the structural system was called statically determinate. Okay, so we will now formalize that notion a little more and go a little bit in depth as well. So basically, this notion of being able to compute all the support reactions using equations of equilibrium, that effectively is the concept of static external determinacy or indeterminacy. So if a system is statically determinate, its static external determinacy or indeterminacy will be 0. Okay, so for example, let us say if R is the number of unknown reactions. Okay, so if we were talking about a simply supported beam, for example, now this beam will have three unknown reactions, right? So the vertical horizontal at the left end and vertical at the right end. So basically there are three unknown reactions to be determined, and hence R is equal to 3 for this case. So if R is the number of unknown reactions and E is the number of equilibrium equations, and you may recall that for two-dimensional problems E will be equal to 3, right? And these three equations will be summation F in the x direction equal to 0, summation F in y direction equal to 0, and summation moment in z direction equal to 0. So here we are saying that this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and the axis which comes out of the plane of the screen, that will be z-axis. Okay, so R is the number of unknowns and E is the number of equations which are available, which we can potentially solve to compute the unknowns. So we define I external, which is the external degree of indeterminacy, to be R minus E. Okay, now if R minus E is equal to 0, this is a determinate system. Okay, so this simply supported beam that we drew here, that is a determinate system. And if R minus E is greater than 0, that indicates that the number of unknowns is more than the number of equations, right? So number of unknowns is greater than the number of equations, and in this case the system is called indeterminate because all the unknowns cannot be computed using the equations of equilibrium only, and we will need some additional equations or additional relationships to find those unknowns. And typically these additional requirements or conditions are called compatibility. So we will need additional compatibility relations to be able to compute the remaining support reactions. So this is the concept of external indeterminacy, where we are only concerned about the external reactions or the support reactions of the system. We, from time to time, we also need to compute the internal forces of a structure. So if we were to cut this simply supported beam in the middle, let's say if we retain this reaction, we will expose potentially we will expose three types of forces here. One is an axial force, a shear force, and a moment. Okay, so for a beam element, each member will potentially have three unknowns as a member force. And you will recall that for a truss member, it can only consider or only take axial loads. So for a truss member, each member can take will have one unknown. Okay, now let's say if M is the number of members, right? So as we said, in truss each member will have one unknown force. For a beam or a frame, each member will have three unknown forces. Okay, and let J is the number of joints. Okay, so again, for if you recall the method of joints for truss analysis, for each joint you were able to write two equations, right? Summation fx equal to 0 and summation fy equal to 0. Similarly, for each joint of a frame or a beam, one can write three equilibrium equations. In addition to the two force equilibrium equations, there will be a moment equilibrium equation as well. Now, in case of beams or frames, sometimes there is also an internal hinge which gives an additional equation, right? So at each internal hinge, you can write one more equation of one more additional equation where it says moment equal to 0 at that internal hinge. So by a similar notion, what we define the internal degree of indeterminacy. So for a truss, it is simply m minus 2j minus e. So m is the number of unknowns and 2j minus e is the number of equations. So 2j are the equations which are originating from the joints, and e is the number of equilibrium equations which we have used up in the external indeterminacy. So that we are reducing from here because they are already used. Similarly, for a beam or truss member, the number of unknowns is 3 times m because each member can carry 3 forces, right? So 3m is the number of unknowns, and then 3j minus e is the number of equations from joints minus the initial equilibrium equations, and then each hinge will give one additional equation, so we reduce that as well. Now the notion remains the same, that if this I internal is equal to 0, the system is internally determinate, and if this is greater than 0, this is internally indeterminate. Okay, and what internal indeterminacy would mean is that maybe a system is externally determinate and you are able to compute the reaction forces, but if it is internally indeterminate, even after knowing the reaction forces, we will not be able to compute the internal forces, and we will need some internal compatibility relations to be able to do find all the internal forces. Now both these notions are usually combined, and what we call the static indeterminacy of a system is typically the addition of internal and external indeterminacies. Okay, so the total indeterminacy or total static indeterminacy of a structural system is the summation of its internal and external indeterminacies, and if we combine the relations obtained above, eventually you can obtain I to be of this form, respectively for trusses and beams or frames. Okay, let us look at some examples which may help us to solidify this concept. Okay, and we will be looking at beam or frame examples primarily. So keep in mind that this is the sort of relation we will be using for total indeterminacy, although we will look at internal and external separately. All of these examples are taken from Hibbeler's book on structural analysis. So first is a simply supported beam. We all know that it is a determinate system internally as well as externally. But just to see how that relationship works, so we have R equal to 3, which means we have 3 unknown reactions to find. J is equal to 2, so there are 2 joints. Okay. M is equal to 1, which means there is 1 member, and H equal to 0, which means there is no internal hinge. So the external indeterminacy becomes R minus E. E becomes 3 for a planar problem, so that is 0. And internal indeterminacy becomes 3 times number of members, so 3m minus 3j minus e, and h is 0, so that doesn't come, so this also becomes 0. So the total indeterminacy of this beam is 0. Okay, so this is a statically determinate beam. Next we look at a cantilevered beam. This also I guess all of you would know that this is a determinate system. So again there are 3 unknown reactions to be found. So R is equal to 3, there are 2 joints, J is equal to 2, there is 1 member, M equal to 1, there is no internal hinge, so H is equal to 0. And again you would see that both external and internal indeterminacies come out to be 0, and hence the total indeterminacy of this cantilever beam is also 0. So this is also a statically determinate beam. Next we look at a beam which is fixed from both sides. So now at each support there will be 3 reactions. So there are total of R equal to 6 reactions. Okay, the number of joints is again 2, number of members is 1, and H equal to 0. There is no internal hinge. So the external indeterminacy is 6 minus 3 equals to 3, and internal is 0. Okay, if you want, you can pause a little bit to just calculate the internal indeterminacy. So the total indeterminacy of this beam is 3. So this is indeterminate to the third degree. Let's now look at a frame. So this is a frame which is fixed at support A, and then it is like this. Now at the support, which is A, there will be 3 unknown reactions. So R is equal to 3. There are 3 joints A, B and C. Let's call this C. So J is equal to 3. There are 2 members marked between AB and BC. So M is equal to 2. There is no internal hinge, so H is 0. Now external indeterminacy is now 0, because there are 3 reactions and there are 3 equations, so that comes out like that. And internal indeterminacy also comes out to 0. So 3M minus 3J minus E, H is also 0, so this comes out to 0. So this frame is a determinate, statically determinate frame. Similarly, this is a simply supported beam with an overhang. So again, you can pause a little bit and work out the details, and we will find that this system is also statically determinate. Now this beam is fixed at the left support, and there are 2 props or 2 roller supports in the rest of the span. So the number of reactions R becomes 5, and rest remains as the earlier case. So in this case, the external indeterminacy comes out to 2, the internal indeterminacy comes out to 0. So the beam is overall indeterminate to the second degree. Now let's look at a system with an internal hinge. So at the left end, this is a guided roller support. So this will not have any vertical reaction because it is free to move in that direction. Okay, so this will have 2 reactions here, and the right end is a hinge or a pin support, so it will have 2 reactions there. So overall R equals to 4. So the external indeterminacy becomes 4 minus 3, which is 1. For internal indeterminacy, we have 1, 2 and 3 joints, and 1 and 2 members. So 3 times number of members minus 3J minus 3 minus 1. So this minus 1 comes from the hinge. So since there is one internal hinge, we will get one additional equation. So the internal degree of indeterminacy becomes minus 1. So this minus 1 and this plus 1 overall makes the system to be statically determinate. Now what this means is that this is externally indeterminate but internally underdeterminate in a way, and overall it becomes determinate. So basically, in order to be able to compute all 4 reactions, we will need to use the internal hinge equation. That's what it means. So without using them, we will not be able to compute. Now let's look at another example with 2 internal hinges. So this is fixed from both sides, and there are 2 internal hinges. So there are the R is equal to 6. So 6 unknown reactions minus 3. So external indeterminacy is 3. Internal indeterminacy is 3 times number of members, which is 3, minus 3J minus 3 minus H is 2 here. So internal indeterminacy is minus 2. So overall this beam is indeterminate to the first degree. Now let's look at a different sort of frame. So this is fixed supported at this end, it is pinned at this end, and there is an internal hinge in this frame. Okay, so again the number of unknown reactions is 5. So external indeterminacy becomes 5 minus 3, 2, and for internal indeterminacy we have 3 times number of members, minus 3j minus 3 minus 1. This 1 comes from the internal hinge. So internal indeterminacy is minus 1. So overall this frame is indeterminate to the first degree. So likewise you can work out for rest of the examples. So for example, this frame you will find that this is indeterminate to the fourth degree. This frame you will find it is indeterminate to the third degree. And I would recommend pausing the video and just trying to calculate these things, although the calculations are also given, but it will be good if you try to do it yourself. Now this frame is indeterminate to the ninth degree, and this frame is indeterminate to the sixth degree. Okay, so in this way we can calculate the static indeterminacy of structural systems. So this is a very straightforward way of calculating it. Now related to the concept of indeterminacy is the stability of structural systems. So what stability essentially means is whether the force equilibrium and moment equilibrium are all satisfied or not. Because if either of them is not satisfied, so for example, if summation of F is not equal to 0, this means that there is a net force which is acting on the system, and this will cause acceleration, or the system will move, and hence it will be unstable. Okay. Similarly, if the summation of moments is not equal to 0, which will mean that there will be a net moment, and this will mean that there will be an angular acceleration, so which means the system will begin to rotate upon application of a certain force. Okay, so stability can be assessed from two perspectives, or there are two factors which can affect the stability of a system. One is if it is partially constrained, which means if the degree of indeterminacy or static indeterminacy is negative. Okay, so we saw that if it is equal to 0, it is a determinate system, greater than 0 is an indeterminate system, but less than 0 will be an unstable system. So just to give an example, if a beam is shown like this, where it has, let's say, a pin support at the left end but no support at the right end, so this will be a case where R equal to 2, but equilibrium equations will remain 3. So the external degree of indeterminacy will be -1, which is less than 0, which indicates that this is an unstable system. And really, if you see that if there was a load being applied on this, so this load will cause this beam to move like this, right? So it will basically cause an angular acceleration in the beam. The second possibility is that the system may be improperly constrained. So now I, or the indeterminacy, may be 0 or even positive, but if the supports are not provided properly, then also the system can become unstable. And two primary examples of this, one of them is concurrent reactions. So if you look at this system, all the support reactions are passing through the same point. Okay, so this is a concurrent system of forces, and as such, now if there is a force, external force being applied here, now there is no way that the moment of this force can be balanced, because the other forces are passing through that point, so they cannot generate any moment, right? So this is one problem which is of concurrent reactions. The other issue is when there are parallel reactions. So if there is a beam which is supported only on rollers, this will give rise to 3 reaction forces, but all of them in the same direction. So even though here R equal to 3, which means I is equal to 0, so we may think this is a statically determinate system and hence okay, but since the reactions are parallel, this will not be a stable system. So if an inclined load were to act on this, this will cause a sideways movement in the system, and hence this is not a stable system. We may also have a case which are externally okay but internally unstable. So if you look at this truss, the external determinacy is 0, because see, this is a pin support, this is a roller support, so externally reactions can be determined, but internally we see that the indeterminacy is less than 0, which means this is internally unstable. And one way to visualize is that if you apply a force like this, you can imagine that this will deform like this, and this will just keep on going sideways and it will collapse. Okay, so this was about static indeterminacy and stability. Now another useful concept for us later on will be the notion of kinematic indeterminacy, and this is basically just it's also called degrees of freedom. Okay, so essentially this is the number of unique joint displacements or rotations which are required to completely define the state of deformation of a structural system. Okay, now before we go on to do some examples, we need to define what really is a joint. So in the static indeterminacy formulation also we had used this J, which we were calling joint, but we had not formally defined what a joint is. Although from the examples I hope you have an intuitive sense of what a joint is. Now a joint is typically considered at a support, so wherever there is a support we call it a joint, or we count it as a joint. At the end of a member, let's say a free end, at internal hinge, wherever two members of different cross sections meet, okay, and wherever two members meet at different angles. Okay, so these are the 5 possibilities which we will term as a joint. So both for kinematic indeterminacy as well as for static indeterminacy. Now let's look at some examples. So for a simply supported beam, it will deform like this. Okay, now there will be some rotation at this joint. So there are 2 joints in this, 1 and 2. So this joint will have some rotation which we are calling theta 1. This joint can have a different rotation which we are calling theta 2, and this joint, since it is on a roller, it can also have an axial deformation which we are calling delta 1. So basically there are 3 unknowns or 3 displacements which we need to define to completely describe the state of deformation of this beam. Okay, so the kinematic indeterminacy is 3 for this case. So you can realize that for a pinned support there will be 1 degree of freedom, which is rotation, and for a roller support there will be 2 degrees of freedom, 1 rotation and 1 translation. Okay, let's look at the cantilever beam example. So again the deformation profile will be like this, and there are 2 joints, 1 and 2. Okay, so the first joint is fixed, so that cannot have any displacement. So there is no displacement or rotation at the left end. For the second joint, it can have a rotation theta, it can have a downward displacement delta 1, and it can have an axial displacement delta 2. So overall the kinematic indeterminacy of this system is also 3. Okay, and you may realize that for a fixed support there are 0 degrees of freedom, and for a free end there can be 3 degrees of freedom. Okay, now a fixed beam which is fixed on both sides. Now since both sides are fixed and a fixed support has 0 degrees of freedom, so the kinematic indeterminacy of this beam will be 0. Let's look at this frame. So this is a fixed end, so 0 here, and these 2 ends are in a way free. Okay, so at joint B you can have deformation or deformation in that direction, upwards direction. You can have a sway, so which means displacement of point B in the horizontal direction, and you can have a rotation of joint B as well. Similarly, for this point C you can have horizontal deformation which is different from the horizontal deformation of B, so that will be 1. and you can have a vertical deflection here and you can have a rotation here. So overall the kinematic indeterminacy is 6. Now in this just one remark, that oftentimes in problems it is mentioned that beams and columns are axially rigid, which means they will not admit any axial deformation. So in that case the deformed shape, let's say, looks like this, and then for point B we have this sway degree of freedom and the rotation degree of freedom. Okay, so here it remains 0, and then for point C we have this deflection, vertical deflection, and a rotation. Okay, so in that case Ki of the system will be 4. Now similarly, this beam with an overhang, you can work out that the kinematic indeterminacy is 6. For this beam it turns out to 4, and for this frame it comes to 15. Okay, so with this we will stop this discussion about the determinacies. So basically what we have learned is static indeterminacy, we have learnt about stability, and we have learnt about kinematic indeterminacy. This is also called degree of freedom. Okay, so in general stability is required for all systems. Static indeterminacy will be of use in the so-called force-based methods. We will learn about that in later sessions. And kinematic indeterminacy is of use in displacement-based methods. And these also we will learn in later sessions.